Since the start of the Israel-Hamas war, anti-Semitism has spiked across the globe. Holly Huffnagel, U.S. Director combating anti-Semitism at American Jewish Committee, joins us to expertly explain why, when and why certain terms are anti-Semitic and why they shouldn't be a part of the public discussion about the war. So thank you very much for joining us today. There's been a lot of focus on anti-Semitism since the war between Israel and Hamas started nearly 2 months ago. Are anti-Semitic incidents on the rise?
Unfortunately, yes. We've seen an 1,100% increase in anti-Semitic incidents around the world since the war started, and an almost 400% increase in the United States. But that should be seen in a longer context. We've had rising anti-Semitism in Europe for the past 2 decades, in the United States for at least the last 6 to 7 years. So this is just another part of the bigger problem, unfortunately.
That's interesting. So can you tell us about the Translate Hate glossary? What is that?
Translate Hate is a glossary of terms, tropes, phrases that are anti-Semitic or can become anti-Semitic in certain contexts. An American Jewish Committee, we published this resource for the first time in 2019. Several years ago, when we were already seeing a rise in anti-Semitic discourse and incidents and actions in our country, in order for Americans to be able to better understand what anti-Semitism is, what it looks like, how they can respond to it, we have added to this glossary. This is our 3rd time adding terms and tropes to the glossary that's coming out in this iteration today.
And so why have you added more than 20 new words and phrases to the most recent version?
So we've added more than a dozen new terms today, in part because anti-Semitism is changing. It is morphing. It's 2,000 years old. We can trace it back to over 2 millennia, but it's constantly adapting and fitting into this moment. It's about scapegoating. It's blaming. It's accusing Jews of being too powerful, manipulation. It's accusing the Jewish state of some of those anti-Semitic terms that are used against the Jewish individual toward the Jewish collective and the state of Israel. And so as we see history happening before us, we need to be able to explain what these terms mean. How do you respond to them? And so that's why we've added these new terms today.
Gotcha. Okay, so if people hear someone make an anti-Semitic remark, well, what should they do?
So the first thing is to say something. I think so often when we hear something that sounds a little off, or we see something, we don't really know what to do about it, so we don't say anything. And we know that being a bystander actually benefits the perpetrator. That was a lesson from the Holocaust, which was only 80 years ago. And to see the rising anti-Semitism again, which is what led to the Holocaust and the genocide against the Jewish people, is why we have to speak out so much more urgently now. And so AJC has also created a resource on how to report anti-Semitism. And that resource can be found at ajc.org/reporting anti-Semitism. So when you see something, you can say something. It gives you directions on how to report. But the first step is really using that Translate Hate resource, which is also available on our website, ajc.org/translate hate.
Gotcha. And so when you hear people say, anti-Semitism is a problem for Jews, not for me, well, what do you say to that in response?
I actually personally really like this question. I'm not Jewish. I don't think that the onus of the responsibility to fight anti-Jewish hatred should be on the Jewish community. It's our responsibility. As a society, we're the ones that have the problem. And thankfully, 9 in 10 Americans say that anti-Semitism is a problem for society. So that's a good statistic. It gives me hope that so many Americans do recognize that this is about our democratic values, our pluralistic society, what we stand for as Americans, and that we all need to be part of the effort to push back against it.
I gotcha. Very, very good. Okay, so before I let you go, where can folks go to get some more information so they can stay in the loop?